So, NEO was one of the coins that took center stage during the 2017 bull run, definitively entering the top 10 and making a statement that it had compelling ideas and reasons to be chosen over Ethereum and any of the other choices as a smart contract and dApp platform. But since hitting $180 per coin in January of 2018, we've seen a rather dismal 12 months, and the project seems to be a shadow of what it once was. Or is it? Is the Chinese Ethereum killer still relevant in 2019? And what exactly have they been working on? After all, even if the market hasn't shown it, the platform war is still incredibly hot, and the competition has not slowed down. So let's look at NEO and determine if it's still relevant and worth considering in 2019. Welcome to Ready Set Crypto. This is your brain on blockchain. So before I get started, I want to tell you that I'm going to be attending the NEO Devcon, which is taking place February 16th and 17th in Seattle, Washington. And of course, that might broadcast my intentions to give NEO some sort of biased review, but that's not really my objective at all. I'm going because, in my opinion, the best way to evaluate a project and determine its potential is to meet the team in person and ask them questions face to face. So I aim to do exactly that. In that regard, if there's a question that you think I should ask the NEO team, at the same time I publish this video, I'll also be putting out a Twitter poll where you can submit questions that I should ask the NEO team and really what you would like to know. Furthermore, I'd love for my subscribers to attend the event with me. And when the NEO team heard that I was coming, they graciously gave me 10 tickets to give away to my subscribers. So to that end, there's a Google form in the description below. Just fill out your name, your email, and the reason why I should pick you to go to the event, and then I'll announce the winners on Friday on my Twitter. Lastly, if I don't pick you, and you'd still like to go, you can save on tickets to the event using the promo code RSCNEO2019. It's not my intention to collect affiliate revenue from that, and I'm not being paid to be at the event, but if it helps somebody attend the event, by all means, please use it. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's address the topic at hand. Is NEO still relevant in 2019? Certainly it's still a project in 2019, which of course deserves some accolades. But as I've said in previous videos, the most important aspect you can seek to determine in a project during your fundamental analysis in 2019 is longevity. Is this project going to survive the next year or so? This bear market just became crypto's longest in its history, and I fully expect us to, unfortunately, continue that trend for longer than any of us would prefer. But with that said, is it valid to make project predictions? Generally how I see someone address a topic like this, is this project still relevant? Is this project still worth being bullish on? Is to read off some statistics or recent updates they've done, or hey, look what the team shared with everyone. That's all well and good, but I think that's very surface level stuff. Where we are right now, where the market is, where the entire crypto space is, you need to be asking the deeper questions. You not only need to be asking, is this project still relevant? But really, especially for a network project like NEO, you need to be asking, is there really any utility value to this project at all? I mean, the network effect is so pervasive when it comes to a nascent industry like this. Stated another way, it's the bigger network that continues to get bigger. Why would you build a dApp? Why would you launch your project on some small network when you could launch on something like Ethereum and be guaranteed liquidity and exposure and just basically future-proofing? That's why I refuse to even acknowledge a smart contract and dApp platform outside of the top 20, because at this point, I feel that they've already lost, unless they can provide some very compelling reason as to why people should switch to their platform, or if they're doing something interesting like working with SDOs. I think it's frankly too little too late. Of course, there's always exceptions to that. You know, people continue to give Cardano a pass because it apparently has such great technology. But at this point in time, I need to see an established foothold. So I think that's a good segue into starting to talk about NEO. And really answering the question, does it have that? Does it have an established foothold? Is it still relevant in 2019 because of its ability to persist and attract users and projects to its platform? I mean, from the start, NEO has always been about the promise of the smart economy. For them, it's not exactly about the infrastructure or the tech today. It's about the intent that you have moving forward. It's about acknowledging that no blockchain is ready for real adoption and being wary of any platform that is focusing on advertising or announcing some sort of meaningless partnership. So again, this brings us back to the question of what NEO brings to the table, and that is chiefly its smart economy. Even 2 years later, it's still a very compelling idea. The notion that you have digital assets and digital identity and smart contracts making up a mesh, a distributed network, automating the management of digital assets using smart contracts. It's the idea of using things like automatic token conversion, where you'll be able to switch to the native token of the app you wish to use. You don't have to hold 100 different tokens to use each application on your phone. And of course, that runs parallel with the ideas of atomic swaps. But my point is that it's sort of been built into the NEO smart economy from the start. This idea that projects should build with each other and on top of each other, not just be individual facets in a much larger network. The idea that exchanges and e-commerce solutions and marketplaces and fintech and services and identification and IoT and AI are all interconnected, that dApps under each of these subsets should be able to cross-communicate with one another using a unified ecosystem. That liquidity, both in market capital and in information, is shared among the entire network. This is why I reject the notion that there's going to be some dApp that is going to be the killer app of crypto and save us from ourselves and be the next Apple or Amazon or something like that. Well, that idea is very compelling and almost poetic in nature. I think it ignores the realities of the time and age that we live in. We don't use technology to solve one problem anymore. We've moved beyond the era of simple machines, the hammer, the wheel. Nowadays, technology is multifaceted, interconnected, and should have a proclivity to solve issues on multiple fronts. So when I imagine a killer app for crypto, I don't imagine one singular facet. I imagine an ecosystem, a smart economy. And that's what NEO does better than just about anybody else. Just look at ndap.org to get an overview of some of the dApps NEO has to offer. But again, I think it goes much deeper than this. The NEO ecosystem has complexity and depth, but also it has breadth. NEO has solutions in just about every one of blockchain's compelling use cases, and in a lot of times, these are excellent projects. And tying it all together, you have an army of committed developers and community members making it happen. Still to this day, I think the City of Zion, the volunteer developer group, is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen come out of the crypto space. I mean, if you haven't recently, check out the Neon wallet to see what I'm talking about. It has one of the best interfaces I've ever seen in crypto, and I love using it every single time. But this video is already starting to get long in the tooth, so let's answer definitively, is NEO still relevant in 2019? I think it is, for the simple reason of being infrastructure first, instead of trying to wow people with flashy partnerships or other facades that we definitely saw come out of the space over the last year. Instead, their big initiative right now is NEO 3.0 and some of the other big releases that will be coming out over the subsequent years. They're slated to make big announcements at NEO Devcon, so obviously I can't cover what I don't know. But what I do know is that at this point in time, having a platform is not about attracting users. It's not about attracting as many dApps as possible. Sure, those are great things to have, but the more important thing is that this technology is still very immature, and we're still years away from realistically having user adoption and being a more compelling alternative than the existing centralized systems out there. I think we all need to acknowledge that. And that's certainly something that I've seen NEO do from basically the start. Not only is this year defined by a project having longevity and the ability to survive, but I think it's also about building with intent. Is a project trying to build to stay relevant, or is it relevant because of what it's building? With Neo, I think it's the latter. I think they have a meaningful approach to how they do development, and from the start, that's always impressed me. What I will say is that even though Neo has had a pretty rough year, I think it's been with intent, and I see the hallmarks of a dedicated team and a project still looking to make a difference. Of course, as I said, I'm going to hold off on my final evaluation of that until I actually meet the team in person in 2 weeks, and I'm able to ask them questions directly to their face. So I am not totally convinced about the future of this project. Certainly no project is a surefire winner. But for this year, I think Neo has what I'm looking for regarding intent and potential. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you agree that Neo is a compelling project in 2019? Or do you think it's got its best days behind it? Are you upset with the team for not communicating as much as they have? Do you think they'll never be able to escape their shadow, which is ontology? Do you think they have a chance of standing above the competition? Unfortunately, there's a lot of reasons working against Neo. So if you feel strongly, I would definitely like to hear it in the comments below. But on the opposite side, if you think there's compelling things that I missed or reasons that you feel strongly about Neo, definitely let's talk in the comments below as well. And again, I fully encourage you to answer the Twitter poll that I'm going to put up, as well as enter your name for a chance to come to the Devcon. Because in 2019, there are so few projects left that are worth seriously considering for investment. So it's my hope that this was a candid conversation about one that's potentially good, but also potentially not good. It's not for me to say, it's for us to determine together. But hopefully this video has been helpful, and please always do your due diligence. Neo is a complex and deep project, and definitely deserves more research and study. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.